Let's get you a reading. All right, so this is a collective reading for the week, and it applies to you. Take what applies to you and what doesn't apply to you. You can go ahead and release it down the table. This is a collective consciousness, like Carl Jung. We come together as a collective and take what applies to you, and what doesn't apply to you, you can simply pass down to the next person. Thank you for being here. Not all of us like fried chicken, though I've never met such a person. All right. Best fried chicken at a fast food restaurant is the question before the reading gets started that you guys can contemplate. Is it Chick-fil-A? Is it KFC? Is it Popeyes? Is it that Filipino named place? Is it, what's the name of that Filipino place? And then there's that Chicken Fingers place. I can't remember the name. All right. If you know of a fast food place that does the best fried chicken, let me know, because I'm always looking for great fried chicken. All right. Listen, where we are at right now, the nation is in a place of stress. I think it's been very hard for many of us to come to terms with the fact that so many people have chosen to use their power in such a terrible way. You think about all of the children that suffered and went missing. You think about the Sasha Riley Barrows. Sometimes he's called Sasha Barrows. Sometimes he's called Sasha Riley. But I think Barrows was his birth name, and then the Rileys adopted him. So now he likes to go by Barrows. But you listen to those stories, and you can't help but be heartbroken when you think, wow, that's what you did with your power. You wanted to know what it was like to kill somebody and get away with it. So you killed somebody. You hurt a child. I think it's more pain than many of us can bear. We want to believe that those who have the most power have chosen the most good. And I think that would be our message to the world. And it's a message to all of us. The spiritual message for all of us is, what have you done with your power? I have no control over what Donald Trump does with his power other than voting, right? And telling other people to vote. But all of us have some measure of power. We've hired somebody maybe to clean our apartment, or we've asked the waitress, we've ordered food at a restaurant, right? So all of those are interactions with other people that involve a power exchange, right? Where you have the power. You have the power to determine whether you're going to give her a tip, 10%, 20%, whether you're going to be an asshole and send the food back. Those are all examples where we get to experience power, right? It's like that movie about the hotel. What was it called? Hotel Bombay, or what was it called? No, it wasn't. It was called Hotel something, where these senior citizens couldn't afford to retire in England on a pension, so they had to move to a hotel for seniors in India, right? And they were discarded. Many of them were service people who had been discarded, right? They couldn't be a maid or a babysitter anymore, so they got discarded and sent off to Hotel Marigold, right? And one of them, the person that is cleaning and taking care of her, is an untouchable, right? Somebody who must not be touched, right? The South Indian tribes fell to the Iranians, the Persians, right? The Persians that came in, the fairer tribes came in, right? And so the poor Southerners became subjugated and they became the untouchables, right? But if you're working in the field, your skin gets darker, right? So it was status. If you work indoors, you're not going to have dark skin. So the stigma was not about race. It was about labor. It was labor related. Y'all know that? So a person that works outdoors a lot tends to be darker than a person who's sitting in the castle, taking care of the madam or whatever. So one of the characters, Judi Dench, doesn't want the untouchable to don't touch me. I am a white woman from Britain and I can read and write and I've got the blah, 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 blah. And she doesn't want this untouchable to touch her. Right. So now she gets to be the aristocrat because she's got a pension of 1,200 pounds a month. Right. So, when you go into this energy of Nine of Swords, we are tormented by the realization of just how horrible human beings can be at this time. And so I think it calls all of us to really meditate on our misuse of power. For example, I was terrible to the first violin teacher I ever had. I got frustrated with the violin. I yelled and stomped. The violin teacher fired me. I misused my power as the student. I was paying, so I felt like I could be a little bit of a brat. Well, you can't be a little bit of a brat. She's the master. She's been playing the violin for nearly 40 years. She is the master. You are the student. Humble yourself, child, right? So I learned a tough lesson about power. I'm sorry you're frustrated about learning the violin, Whimsy, but don't take it out on this good person who's trying to help you and really is giving you a pretty good price considering, right? So the Nine of Swords, I think, meditate on power right now. That would be my advice. How have you misused it? How do you interact with people who are at your mercy, financially, emotionally? Have you always been a good girlfriend? Really? Never cheated once, never kissed another boy, even in high school? I know I have. So take responsibility. Be kind to those of us who are vulnerable. Put yourself in their shoes. Never misuse. Never think you're better than anyone else. It's just about vulnerability. Sometimes we're vulnerable. Sometimes we're not. Right now, I'm not vulnerable and I can afford to pay my rent. But that won't be the truth when I'm maybe 90 years old and dying and at the mercy of people in hospice care, right? So we all go through periods in our lives where we have power. Like right now, I have power because I can pay my rent. Thank God. But that might not be the case tomorrow. Justice, service, take responsibility for all your interactions so that because each of us has a choice. Maybe nothing we don't have the extreme wealth of somebody like Epstein or Trump. So we don't get to have those kinds of extreme choices, but within the context of the choices we do have to be decent, have we exercised that in every opportunity when we have had the power? So that is start with yourself. Keep your own house in order. Show people respect. Ask for forgiveness or apologize and make amends if you screw up. I do that here all the time. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for us, right? To humble ourselves and say we're sorry, right? So the Nine of Swords, there's just this tremendous stress I feel energetically over the nation and the horror stories that, yes, this is precisely what human beings do when we have power over another human being. We're cruel and we do terrible things to one another. And the healing begins when we all look in the mirror and say, was I rude to my baby sister, my baby brother? Oh God, I was. How have I exercised power in ways that are harmful to others? How can I use this as a teaching lesson to improve my own character? The karma card is that justice is coming. Justice is coming. But the deeper spiritual lesson is, how have you abused power? How have I abused power? And how can we all use this opportunity to pray sincerely that we never take advantage of a vulnerable person when we have the power? Because it sure is tempting when everyone's throwing themselves at you. You look at this old film footage of Trump, all these women that think that the fantasy is real, right? They think that he's going to run off and marry them and take them to Mar-a-Lago, and they don't know what's behind the curtain, right? So when you have that kind of power, you can do a lot of damage. So we have justice coming at a time that's stressing us out a lot, a time of self-reflection about issues regarding power. Eight of Swords can be red tape. I know many of us are doing our taxes right now, and that's not fun. Anybody here not want to do their taxes? Yeah, exactly. So it can be when you're feeling overwhelmed or claustrophobic, like I know I got to get out more, right? Yeah, I got to find the best fried chicken. I've been getting it, QFC, Ralph's, Safeway. I think it's all the same company, right? They produce it's, maybe I should try KFC. I haven't had KFC in a while. All right. So, independent. I don't know why I'm thinking about fried chicken. Probably because we were talking about smorgasbords, and I started thinking about Miss Wilkes boarding house in Savannah, where they have amazing fried chicken. Okay, so take it slow. Slow and steady wins the race, you guys. Popeyes, okay. Pick where I have lunch today. Fried drumsticks for dinner. Oh yeah, okay. Love it. I'm coming to your house. Knight of Pentacles is really saying that now is the time for us to do what we can to kind of balance ourselves. Knight of Pentacles is about grounding, it's financial stability, it's about taking care of your own restrictions. Look for allies and friends where you can. Remember that no one has a license to abuse you, and you're under no obligation to be abused by anyone. And furthermore, Buddhism would say it's a violation of the natural order, and you must remove yourself from that person's presence. Goes back to power, right? When somebody has used their power over you and now you get kicked around because, well, it's my older sister and she always does that. But, it's my older sister, so she gets to tell me she thinks I'm an idiot, right? Or, that she, whatever or it's a parent or whoever it is, could be the ending of any kind of relationship that is abusive. And it doesn't necessarily even mean this is a bad person. Sometimes we wind up in really weird dynamics with people, and they may be a great person who really cares about the world, but for whatever reason, it's just oil and water. It's just not going to work. And so think about also whether or not you're in an environment that's conducive to your health. You know what I mean? So Two of Wands is about reassessing your partnerships, endings and changes, stay grounded, particularly partnerships that could be costing you financially. I'm seeing many of you working on independent projects to come out of financial constraint. Learn to use AI to help you in your work, by the way. I don't see jobs ending, but jobs changing due to AI, and AI will give birth to an increase in 20% new jobs related to AI. So this is the other message that Spirit wanted to say about artificial intelligence. A lot of people felt like home computers were going to destroy the world, that home computers, that nobody was going to go to work, that life was going to end, that jobs were going to end because of home computers. But the opposite happened. Home computers created millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of jobs. from the people that have to sell them to the people that have to repair them, to the people that develop them, right? Administration, everybody, to allow Microsoft to happen, and Dell, and MacBooks, Apple, all of that stuff takes employees. So what happens when you have a new technology is you have new work, and with new work comes new jobs and new job opportunities. So I don't see a loss. I don't see AI taking away jobs. I see AI creating a new way of doing things and new jobs, just like home computers did. We're working more than ever. It's just that the nature of our work has changed. Ooh, faux sounds You know what, Anne? I think I might go do faux. You guys, faux. Where's there some good faux in Portland, Oregon? Anne, I'm liking that. Yeah, I want to get out today. Go do a walk and maybe treat myself to some lunch. I was thinking of going and getting myself naughty a couple pieces of fried chicken from like KFC or someplace like that. But this, I don't know, maybe guys want to recommend. I'm going to go for a walk and maybe take myself to lunch. If you guys have recommendations, I don't eat red meat usually. It's just sometimes, but listen, you guys. So 2 of Wands, 5 of Swords, taking the weapons away, a war away from issues regarding difficulties in relationships that keep you tied or held up. Particularly if it's so. Another way of looking at it, if you have a relationship with a company, you're paying $50 a month for a service and the service isn't working, then this would be an example. Take the weapons of war away, ending a situation that caused you to be contracted in a partnership. So that's what you're working on. You're working on assessing any relationships that are costing you emotionally, physically, and financially. It's harsh because it's harsh when you end relationships, particularly with biological family. It's like, wow, I'm really going to have to end a relationship that I've had for 50 years in some cases. But if it's 50 years of abuse and it's physically making you sick, then yeah. All right, where you're at right now is the Queen of Wands. We've talked a lot about this card. Historically, it has many incarnations. And we've talked a lot about the goddess Oshun. And I want to just remind everyone about the goddess of Oshun because we are now entering into the time of the goddess of Oshun. Right? We're entering into the time of the goddess of Oshun. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Her birthday's in February, I believe. Let me make sure I know her birthday. Oshun's birthday. Oh, September 8th. I thought it was February. My apologies. It could be Our Lady of, it's the Our Lady of the whatever who's in February. That makes sense. It would be fall, right? Okay, so let's look at some images of Oshun. These are the first images we have of the goddess in the yellow. It's kind of like a yellow-orange dress that they use. But here's a nice image of her. You can see her over here in all of her glory. Isn't that pretty? Look at her. Can y'all see that? Yeah. She's a cutie patootie, right? So what can we say about Miss Oshun? I'm going to go ahead and lose that because I'm having trouble opening that up. But Oshun is the goddess, of, she teaches us female power, right? So she teaches us female power. Oops, this is what I wanted to do. And boundaries, right? Trying to get on my focus. My focus improved. Okay, there we go. Here's the focus. It's interesting that she is chosen to represent the wands, which is the wood element, which is liver and gallbladder in Chinese medicine. Wood feeds fire. So we're entering into Fire Horse February 17th. And so who is going to be egging on or riding that fire horse is usually the Queen of Wands. When she comes up, she teaches us about boundaries. We've talked a lot about wands as a suit in the tarot, and wands in the tarot are associated with space and time. Space and time. So she establishes territory and space and time, my way or the highway. So now I think we're seeking justice. I think that that is what this is. I think that we are tormented by these stories and everything that's coming out about these horrible people that used power in such horrible ways. And I think it has called us all to self-reflect on ways that we ourselves may have misused power. And I think that we're now entering into, look, one person cannot beat the collective power of a nation, right? Or the world. The world is disgusted with Andrew, formerly known as Prince, right? The world is disgusted with King Charles and everybody else that covered it up. The people are disgusted with Trump and every other creepy person that thought it would be fun. I sent you a great torture video. What does that mean, right? Was it all pretend? Or probably not with this crowd. So she comes to establish territory and power, and the power of the people to override those that have misused their power. Remember, she establishes territory, time, and space. My way is the mantra of Oshun. My way or the highway, my way, boom, boom, right? So that is really how I always interpret Oshun. It's my way or the highway. Going to do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to do it, how I tell you to do it. That's Oshun, right? So here would be an image of Oshun. These are the first images we see of this archetype thousands and thousands of years ago, out of Nigeria with the Yoruba people, right? African goddess, Yoruba goddess of love, fresh waters, and fertility. Oshun's compassionate, sensuous nature and her water element energy encourages healing and mothering, harmony, and going with the flow. But she has a dark aspect as well. And that dark aspect is when she is disrespected, right? So the dark aspects of Oshun are when you don't treat Oshun the way that she deserves to be treated. She is associated with the sweet waters, right? So the sweet waters. The salty waters are the goddess Yamaya, and the Hebrew word for that is Yam, which means the sea. So first life comes from the amniotic fluid and the sea is the amniotic fluid of Gaia, who is pregnant with us. But the sweet water is Oshun. And here we have another image of Oshun, the bird, the peacock, the mirror where she looks at her beauty, the yellow dress, the gold and the honey. Western and Central Africa is where she comes from. She was brought to the Americas as into the pantheon that branched the African nations. So the story is that she brings fertility, beauty, the sweet things of life. But when she's disrespected, she can leave and never come back again. She's easily insulted. Treat me right or I am gone. You're going to show me respect and you're going to show women respect. So she is also a witch and the magic of women's power. And you can see that lovely black cat. And that's because Oshun is also in the African tradition, the queen of the witches, the madrega of the household. She's the queen of the household. You show her some damn respect or you're going to be eating crow, right? She will take care of you. And what has happened energetically is that you have disrespected Oshun because she is the mother of all women, the feminine divine. And so when she moves in to take position in the seventh house, you should be nervous. Particularly when you see that the near future is the Five of Swords. I'm going to take control away from you. Our partnership has come to an end. Now, the opposition to her is karma. Now, the Ifa tells a story in the Yoruba tradition that the male deities, when they came to form the earth, the workers, they came to work and to fight and to make mischief. And when Oshun said, "Can I help? I'd love to help create a beautiful world," they said, "We don't need you, woman. Get back in the house." "Oh, really? You don't need me?" "Okay." So Oshun flew up to the moon and she made herself beautiful by gazing at her own reflection, because a lady likes to look good. So Oshun was gazing at her own beauty, looking at the mirror, watching the earth, and nothing grew. The land was barren. And when Oludumare, the god of the gods, came to look at the earth, he said, "I gave all these forces to the earth to make the world beautiful, but nothing is growing. Why not?" And they said, "Well, we don't know." And then Oludumare, the god of gods, said, "Well, where is Oshun, the energy of femininity and fertility that guides women's power?" They said, "Well, we told her we didn't need her." And so she went to go live on the moon. And so Oludumare said, "Well, you boys, you better go apologize to the women, or you're not going to survive without water, without bees to grow things and the sweet honey and love making and comfort of a home and all the other beautiful things that the feminine divine brings the earth. Y'all better be doing some apologizing." And so that is what they did. The male deities bowed to the power of Oshun. We have sinned against womankind, against the divine feminine. And Oshun said, "I will accept your apology, but don't do it again. Because woe be it to the men when you forget where you came from, where you forget the power of the woman, the feminine divine, because there will be consequences for the things that you have done. There will be consequences." So she arises again, and the wheel of fortune churns again, and there will be consequences. Well, the last time a lot of people died, there was drought and famine, and all the gods became powerless under the hand of Oshun. And the remedy was, you better start treating women like people and children like people. They're not toys and playthings. And anytime you decide to create a baby, you better think about what he or she is going to be saying to you 21 years from now when you're having that first beer. What the fuck were you thinking, Mom? What are you going to say to them? What were you thinking, right? All right, so we're having this time, we're entering into the time of the Queen of Wands, and the fights are happening. How many idiots do you think there are, mostly male, that don't have a clue what's happening to them karmically right now? There are forces that exist in the universe. There are forces that exist in the world, and you'd better start paying attention to them. You don't disrespect women. You don't respect mothers. You don't respect women who are seniors, because we are all witches and we all remember. You don't want to get an evil eye from a woman over 40. Trust me. Want to disrespect women over 40? Think you're so clever? Oh no, honey. That's a big, big mistake. You will curse yourself for countless generations when you disrespect a senior woman. Oh yes. You do not want to go there. I'm sorry, I'm having problems with that thing right there. Okay. There we go. We'll raise it up a little bit. All right, and the final outcome for you is war. The metal horse. All right, the metal horse. Violent war. So I think we're going to see possibly an attack on Iran. We're going to see some possible military breaks this week. Yeah, something coming like violent, aggressive winds. This could also be, if it's weather, this is an windy ice storms, like when we had the bomb cyclops thing, snow thing that happened. Oh, we got the Knight of Swords. It's like the bowl in the china shop. It's very destructive. A new contract with Oshun. We need a new contract with women. A new contract is coming here. You guys had your fun. All that stupid crap with Trump and treating women like their property and these BS bloggers that hate women. You're all going down. Andrew Tate, you're all going down. You're all finished. Here comes the fire horse, Knight of Wands. That's in the next 2 weeks. Good luck with that. You pissed her off. I don't think that you're getting it, boys. I don't think you get what's happening here. It's a force in the universe, and you have violated it. And there are a metal horse and then a Knight of Wands moving in, fire horse, after the Queen of Wands shows up. Hell no, I want to take a 2-week vacation. Girl, you do what you got to do. Wheel of Fortune in the House of Opposition. Hello. We warned you. That's all I got to say. Every name of every person that harmed a little kid that was on the episode, you're all going down. Goodbye, Fergie. Goes for women too. If you don't respect women and children, you are finished. Right? So be aware of that. We are entering into the fire horse time. That starts in 2 days. Get your house in order. Remember, first house is the 8 of Swords, feeling restricted. My partnerships are restricting me. 5 of Swords, I got to get control over these partnerships. What's your relationship like with your bank? What's your like with your credit cards? With your family members, everybody. If it's destructive to you, it is going down now in the next 2 weeks. It's pretty intense. Yeah. Okay, so did I have anything else? There was something else I wanted to mention about this. Yeah, look at this new contract, Oshun energy moving in. Karma awaits and judgment cast against the enemy. The goddess fertility in conflict. Comes war. And the fire horse the next 2 weeks. Women have to know that. I don't think that women understand just how much power they possess just by being women. Just turn off the faucet and watch everything dry up. Wow, intense, don't you think? That was pretty intense. I didn't expect that. Whoa. All right, when we get the order, we will blitz, blitz, blitz away. It's going to be an intense couple of weeks. There's going to be an account and a reckoning. We've talked a lot about that. We ourselves are called to take an account and a reckoning of all of our misdeeds when it came to struggles of power, conflicts with power. Hi, Mark. It's my friend Mark is here. And that we will see the hand of Oshun over the next 2 weeks. It is an energetic, the spirit of Oshun must be a lot of people worshiping Oshun right now because her energy is very strong. And with Oshun comes justice. I think I have something else I wanted to show you on Oshun. See if I can find some information on the dark aspects of Oshun. Yeah. Let me show you this, what's coming, because she's coming with the fire horse. I know, she got pissed. Well, could you blame her? All right, let me show you this, and then we're going to move on to blitz, blitz, blitzing away. While Oshun is widely celebrated on her feast, destructive wrath, when disrespected, ignored, or heartbroken, Oshun can switch from benevolent to vengeful. Myths describe her destroying crops, causing droughts. Remember, I'm going to take my water, and unleashing terrible floods in her water with her waters. Jealousy and spite. As a deity with human-like emotions, Oshun can be incredibly jealous and spiteful, particularly in matters of love and vanity. The mud and old, in some traditions, Oshun is not just the beautiful young goddess, she is also associated with the mud at the bottom of the river, the buzzard representing her role in removing decay. Remember, like the fire horse, she burns off the dirt, the mud, the grime, the impurity. And being an old, deaf, and fearsome witch, right? We talked about you better be kind to those old witches because they're channeling this guy. You know, you don't want to get my bad eye on you. Bad stuff happens to people that I'm old, Jewish, and psychic. Be fair. No. Yeah, dangerous consequences of promise. It is considered dangerous to break a promise to Oshun. She is known to hold grudges and expects her devotees to keep their word, which can lead to severe punishment if betrayed. Now, remember, Trump is a child of Oshun. Males can be children of Oshun, and the darker aspects of Oshun is vanity, right? Vanity and ego. So she has a low vibration and she has a high vibration. Her low vibration is Donald Trump. They want to look in the mirror all the time. They want to have gold everywhere, gold hair, gold clothes, gold toilet, gold gun, gold, right? Vanity and ego. It's manifest as extreme vanity and a demand for guys' attention and admiration, right? So what happened was one of her own children, one of her own violated the natural order. Does that make sense? And so the loss of beauty myth, we talked about that. Often referred myth tells of a time when Oshun's vanity led her to attempt to fly to the sun. Her feathers were scorched and she lost all her beauty, turned into a haggard figure before she was restored. So that goes back to the curse, the karma. We're going to the karma wheel. So basically that Trump flies too far to the sun, he's going to get taken out. And that karmic wheel they're talking about. So anyone who fell under this deity, who falls under this deity will fall, and he falls under this deity. So the demanding mother, she is a fierce protector of children and women. Remember, she's the protector of the women and children. He was one of her children, and he violated the natural order, so she takes him out, which means she can be relentless towards those who harm her charges. All right, that is your warning for the next couple. I don't think it's not going to go well. If you're a child of Oshun, you need to follow her rules. And Trump has not followed her. So he's off. It's very obvious that he's a child of Oshun. Do you even need it? You don't even need to throw the bones or yeah, it's very obvious who he is a child of. All right, let's go ahead and blitz away. Good to see you here. Let's do it. Musk is Ogun. He's a child of Ogun. You know Ogun? It's a worker. Mm-hmm. Have you seen pictures? I can show you that. Iron Man. Is the Iron Man. Ogun. They like to work. They like to make things, engineer. This is Ogun. Metal. Building things. But temperamental and emotionally unstable and violent. Yeah.